Well, the stock market in 2018 is going to be very different from what we've seen for the past arguably 7 or 8 years. And one of the main reasons for that is due to the fact that the G4 central banks are starting to and have already started to shift their tone from a period of accommodative to much more constrained monetary policy. Now, it doesn't mean the stock market has to fall apart, but most likely we're going to see much more volatility. Speaking of preparing for 2018, in January 2018, specifically the 20th through the 22nd, I'm going to hold a very special workshop down in South Florida in Fort Lauderdale, in beautiful and warm Fort Lauderdale, which is going to be much more pleasant than what you're seeing right now. And the focus of the workshop is going to be to teach you both income and capital gain strategies that are going to work in any market and certainly in what we're going to see next year in 2018. So I would urge you to sign up for that workshop. You'll find more information down below, and I hope to see you in Fort Lauderdale. One way in which we're going to take advantage of an increased volatility environment in 2018 is going to be by looking for so-called bullish and bearish reversal. Because 2018 is not going to be about just holding stocks like we've seen for the past 7 or 8 years. It's going to give us a lot more opportunities, but also a lot more risk for people who are not prepared. And one way we're going to do that is by looking at what's called bullish and bearish reversal. For a little bit of an intro on that, let me head on over to the computer and let me show you what a bullish and bearish reversal looks like.
Alright, so what is a bullish reversal? A bullish reversal takes place when the sellers get exhausted, when the selling pressure reaches extremes. In other words, when the last of the buyers have turned bearish, when there's no one left to sell. And that happens in any market environment, but we see more of those type of things visibly obvious in the charts when the markets are at least a little bit more volatile, at least when we see normal volatility. Over the past few years, 2017 and 16, we've seen very little volatility on average. And I do think coming back in 2018, that's going to dramatically change. And a lot of people are going to not know how to deal with that because we haven't seen volatility for 8 years. The opportunities here are tremendous if you know how to take advantage of it. That's what we're going to talk about in Fort Lauderdale, for example, as well in January. Let's have a look at it. For example, here, this is a stock. You can see we had seller exhaustion take place here, which we can visibly see where my cursor is now by basically a failed selling attempt on the part of the sellers. In other words, the market tried to push lower but didn't manage to close at the lows. In fact, rallied back quite strongly. Well, it took a few days for buyers to finally actually come in, but you can see on the 7th trading session thereafter, we had a nice update taking place. So the formula for this is, follow with me and repeat it with me, seller exhaustion plus confirmation buying equals bullish reversal. Let's say it again. Seller exhaustion plus confirmation buying equals bullish reversal. And the most important thing about all this here is to understand that the bullish reversal is not complete. It is not complete, nor is it valid unless you have the confirmation buying day. Because if the confirmation buying does, again, it doesn't have to come the next day, it can come a few days later, but important is that it's actually there. It confirms that the sellers have actually exhausted themselves, because once the confirmation buying happens, that's when the sellers really start to get scared and scramble, have to cover their short positions, and possibly buy the stock as the bulls come back in. You can see here, for example, in this case, that marked the bottom and about 10% was achieved here over the ensuing weeks. And this is the kind of stuff that you're going to see more and more normal type of volatility environment. That's also what we're going to talk about in Fort Lauderdale.
I hope this has given you some perspective on how I expect to make money in a more volatile 2018. Now click the link down below and sign up for our Fort Lauderdale event in January 20th through the 22nd. It's going to go a very long way in helping you navigate through a much more volatile and much more dynamic environment. See you at the beach.